Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, it's Set. And in the top left-hand corner from CSO, it's Samwise. More PvP goodness. What awaits us in this matchup today? Samwise did show a willingness to break out some shenanigans, some PvP-specific shenanigans, bolstering his forces with an early stalker play that did yield results for him in the last series. What's the plan going to be this time around? And Set, the unknown player, uncasted today, how will his approach to this matchup play out, and how will it differ from Samwise? Everything looking pretty even so far, as one would expect. Keep an eye on that mini-map, because that's what's going to tell the story this early in the game. We're waiting to see if one of these pop probes, after scouting, bolts off in a random direction. A suspicious direction that also may be related to some mal intent. Both players opening up with the standard 2 gateways into Cybernetics Core, and that's what you'd expect at home. But ooh, what is Samwise doing here? His probe plans on sticking around in the natural of his opponent. Will there be any pylons involved with this? Meanwhile, other side of the map, this probe is continuing to do laps around the base of his opponent. Maybe threatening, like, ooh, maybe I'm gonna put a probe, but also still revealing his location. And sometimes the probe not being visible is the scary part. Even if it's not up to no good, the opponent may think it's up to no good. Nothing sketchy going on with that probe yet. Stalkers chrono boosting out. It's actually stalkers on both sides. Samwise hard closing his wall? Oh no, that was Set's. Okay, so Set was being a little bit annoying, threw down a pylon on his way out to hard close the wall, but ends up kind of just being a waste of money. Really not going to delay anything significant. Set's got 2 stalkers out on the middle of the map, looking to possibly get aggressive. Samwise will be the first one to throw down his natural expansion, but look at that. Set is synced up with Samwise, throwing down that expansion at about the same time. Neither player getting any meaningful advantage, nor are they in a position where they could be exploited. Samwise does have the added benefit of that probe that he left, saw the timing. So Samwise has a really good idea of where things are in this game. 4 stalkers will win against 3 stalkers and a sentry, but with defender's advantage, will they win hard enough to be able to snowball this into any lasting damage? Inching forward, taking their first shot, but both sides taking the shield damage of one stalker, matching each other. Now, will they target the right stalker? They don't. They go to a new stalker, work on a new stalker's shields, but as they inch forward, they're getting free damage here, chasing the outnumbered stalkers back. Looking to take out that sentry. That's going to be a nice addition. The stalker count is evened out. It won't be... yeah, nothing more is going to come of this for Set. It looked better than it was, but I'm not so sure that that trade worked out at the end of the day. It's 550 resources lost on both sides, so a little bit of excitement, but no long-term consequences. Twilight Council started up by Set. Phoenix on the way as well. Samwise has a robo, but the robo has yet to produce anything. Game or oops. Paused. All right, so yeah, noob caster screwing up these players. Let's get them on pause. Sorry about that. I bumped the pause button. Both players pretty chill with it, at least. Samwise bolstering his natural expansion, adding in a shield battery. Probably a wise decision. No shield battery on the other side of the map. So Set is going to go ahead and keep the Chrono Boost. Mass Phoenixes is his approach to this matchup on this day. Mass Phoenixes have a lot of potential. They can pick up units on the ground and they can really turn a fight. They can also find a lot of free damage hunting on the map for units that are not close enough to their friends. 3 Phoenixes won't be enough to do that kind of meaningful hunting though. Let's see what he plans to do with these. Three Phoenixes moving in towards the main. Eyes on the mineral line. They will pick up a worker. A few workers are going to fall to this harassment. There's really nothing here to prevent this. 4 workers fall for free. That was the first time in the game that Samwise really has an idea of what his opponent is trying to bring. Dancing around where the army is not. Set is continuing to find a little value, snagging a couple more probes. The worker count is in Set's favor. Robo on the way for Set. The Robo's been up and running for a while for Samwise, but really not doing anything with it. We take a look at the upgrades. No charge, no blink. Charge will be done here in a moment for Set. Blink just now starting for Samwise. Phoenix is continuing to be annoying, shaving off a few workers here, a few workers there. 1 Phoenix almost falls for their transgressions, but they will be able to skirt back here towards the main, maybe snag a couple more probes. Not looking to overstay his welcome on that micro. Lets a few more probes survive, but up on workers from the harassment that he's been able to do. Also, a 3rd base halfway finished for Set, so really positioning himself nicely in this game. Set gonna go ahead and add on a couple forges. Phoenix army continuing to loom just outside the range of vision of Samwise. Every time Samwise moves his army to the left, they plan on appearing on the right. They want to keep Samwise on his toes and continue to find economic damage to justify their existence. 2 more workers fall. No Phoenixes fall. 2 workers for no Phoenixes is the kind of trade that makes these Phoenixes continue to gain value, but they are micro intensive. Has that micro paid off for Set? I'd say yes so far. He's up 105 supply to 79 of his opponent. He's got a 50 worker lead to 46, and he has a nice army lead. That army lead is heavily weighted in these Phoenix, so it's not like a go run your opponent over and win the game type army lead just yet. He also has the earlier 3rd base. So I think Set's made good decisions so far that have put himself into an advantageous position moving into this middle part of the game. A little bit of quiet, a little bit of calm. Archon's morphing in at home for Set, so he is headed down that tech tree for that intimidating ground army. The saving grace for Samwise may end up being his upgrades, which are going to be a good bit ahead of his opponents. Phoenix is moving in, but Phoenix is immediately recognizing that they're not going to be able to do anything about those cannons. If they stick around too long, they will bleed out, and they will no longer be able to continue stacking value over time. Phoenix is moving in towards the natural. Have they been spotted yet? No, but they will be spotted now. Moving in, seeing the gaggle of stalkers is going to be enough to make them think twice. It's probably time to be moving past this Phoenix style. Make sure these Phoenixes have energy, so when the engagement comes, they can pull key units such as Immortals and Archons out of the fray. Stalkers blink forward, hoping to find a Phoenix for their trouble. Not going to find it this time around. Back at home, Set is continuing to swell his Death Ball army. Adding on an Archon, adding on more charge lots, continuing to keep these Phoenixes moving on the map, not trying to get them caught unaware. Hallucinated Phoenix is going to come right over the army. It's going to spot the Phoenixes back at home, as well as the general army comp that Samwise is going to have to deal with here. 156 armies apply to 115. That macro lead is starting to really rear its ugly head. Getting up, getting that third base early, getting that worker damage. Worker counts have been evened out, but during the time that he had that worker lead, he was able to grow his army. 93 armies apply to 59 of Samwise. Set can miss micro this. He's got a lot of this army in these Phoenix, so these Phoenix will have to be micro to get value to win the upcoming battle. 2 more Archons being added on to the forces. Blink has been started by Set. Probably not going to become a major factor in this game. Just figured why not grab it. Phoenixes do find some workers who have wandered a bit too far from home, and they are going to enjoy picking them off. The rest of the army remains at home. This is merely a harassment squad, and it is getting pretty decent harassment. 7 workers have fallen and counted. An 8th worker falls. On their way out, 1 Phoenix will fall for their trouble to the cannon. But all in all, not bad harassment. Continuing to get value out of these. Let's check the kills on these things. 1 kill. 1 kill. 7 kills. 3 kills. 4 kills. 0 kills. Good kills. That's the point. They've gotten good value. Here we go. Battling in the middle, catching each other unaware. These Phoenix moving in over the army, looking for key units to pick up. A little bit delayed on that micro, but they will get the pickups that they're looking for. Mostly on Stalkers, not exactly the units you want to get, but overall, the numbers seem to be in favor of Set. Watch those supply numbers quickly dropping here. The ground forces are thinning out on both sides of the aisle, but these Phoenixes, as they pick up units, are showing to be the determining factor in this battle. Samwise had the upgrade advantage. The upgrade advantage made that fight closer than it could have been, but make no mistake, that was a decisive win for Set, who is now sitting on 50 army supply to 13 of his opponent. A few Zealots getting ahead of the pack, trying to jump on this army while they are exposed out on the middle of the map, but now there are no Zealots to deal with the warping of Set. Falling back, trying to regroup, wants to make sure he does not take a fight into cannons and throw away the good result that he just got, but 71 army supply to 17. Time to gather these forces together and go bust some heads. Samwise taking another base towards the southwest side, or the west, sort of the south, the west side of the map. West side. Regrouping his army, adding on some more Archons. Samwise has a worker lead. He's in the process of establishing a base lead, but right now the army lead is heavily in favor of his opponent. These Phoenixes continue to survive. They got decent value out of that fight. There was a little bit of fat fingering in the micro. They probably could have found better units to scoop up and out of the fight, but overall, I'd say those Phoenixes have proven to be a worthwhile investment in this game. Carriers getting added to the mix for Set. During all of the hullabub, can't say that word, through all of the commotion, he has managed to sneak out a fleet beacon and get into the supreme late game tech of Protoss. 1 carrier on its own, not too intimidating, but it is a sign of things to come. Another one in production when it gets out there on the field. As they start to increase in number, they're going to be hard to deal with this heavy ground army. Archons are going to be the key units to watch here. 2 Archons morphing all by themselves. A good opportunity here to jump on top of them, and they will. Charge lots are going to focus the immediate threat of the cannons first, but as those Archons pop out, they will be taken care of. Phoenix is watching the fight from the sky, not getting any value just yet. Phoenixes need to scoop up some of these Archons. They will snag the Immortal from the back row, which is not a bad grab, but the Archons are proving to be the dominating force in this fight. 3 Archons continue to inch forward. They've thinned out that interceptor count with their splash damage, and now 3 Archons are fighting back the army of Set. Down by so much supply, there's absolutely no way he can win this, right? But these Archons have not gotten that memo. Unable to mow through the high Immortal count, however. The Immortals will take out the Archons. While the Carrier's interceptors were dealt with handily, those will replenish Another carrier back at home will get added to the forces momentarily. Set is closing this game out and will be going up 1-0 in this series over Samwise in our second semifinal of Diamond Heroes 5. Samwise has lost the worker lead that was his saving grace in this game. He has +3 attack, but +3 attack really not going to yield results if you don't have any units to utilize it. Jumping on top of the workers, these Phoenixes are lifted more than they can effectively deal with, but it doesn't matter. GG is called. Set's going up 1-0. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, up 1-0 in the series, looking for a trip to the Diamond Heroes Finals. It is the Red Protoss, SetStndbySmn, something, I don't know. It's not a good name. And in the top right-hand corner from the CSO clan tag, Chaos Spec Ops, it's Samwise. So, when Samwise faced adversity in his series earlier today, his response in Game 2 was to mix it up. Break out some proxy tech. He has shown that as a look he's willing to use in the PvP matchup. Is that going to be the approach today? Let's wait and see. Samwise's scout is headed across the map to take a look around. They will cross each other near the middle of the map. Both headed from where they should be to where they should be going. Scouting probe from Samwise headed towards the third base location of Set on his way out. Last time we saw him do this, and there it is. He's throwing down the pylon. We have seen him show this look before. Samwise showed this look earlier today, and it wasn't anything too fancy. He didn't even put any tech at the proxy. He just used this proxy as a forward anchor point to continue warping in stalkers, and he used stalker pressure, early stalker pressure, to outmuscle his opponent into a victory. Let's see if that's the plan once again. 2 stalkers on the way has me thinking that it is. What was Set doing earlier? Was he watching the cast? Is he aware that Samwise does this? Is this insider information that we have because we've been watching all day? Samwise is mixing it up a bit this time. He's going to go ahead and proxy his Robo. Set once again thinks he's being annoying, locking Samwise in his own base, but one pylon is going to be a very minor setback. Yeah, it's going to go ahead and cancel. He's going to lose 25 minerals to that. Really not getting the value that he thinks he is. Samwise with his proxy Robo is going to be looking to get over here with some stalkers and a quick immortal. Robo just now starting up for Set, so the immortals will be on the map quicker for Samwise. Two stalkers out on the map. Probe looks like it wants to go home. Another stalker pops. Chrono boosting that warp gate, really wants to be able to aggressively warp here at the front. This gateway even added on to increase the warp speed time in the front. This is a more committed proxy from Samwise, but it's I think a much more effective proxy. He's going to be hitting with this immortal and these stalkers super quick. It's going to be a really hard hold for Set. Set has gone with 2 quick sentries, which he may regret once he sees these stalkers. It's going to be 7 or 8 stalkers and an immortal at his front door here in just a minute. Oh, he's dead. He is dead. Stalkers inching forward, arriving before the immortal, and this is the moment where Set realizes he's in a lot of trouble, almost enough to one-shot the Stalker. Not quite enough. A nice force field on the ramp is going to buy a bit of time. Immortal is on the chrono boost here for Set in the main base. Recognizing he's not going to be able to save the natural, he falls back to regroup with his forces and the Immortal, who is soon to arrive. Immortal arrives on the scene. Immortal chewing through Stalker very quickly, focusing the Immortal as Samwise, getting off of it quickly enough, pulling the boys. This is the final stand. Immortal from Samwise is at full health, however, and every worker that falls is a worker into the lead that Samwise will be going from this point forward. Warp Prism from Samwise gets a little bit too aggressive. This push will get pushed back for now, but none of those workers were mining during this. So Set's got to get back onto the mining if he wants to continue warping in units. Pulling the workers back and forth, sending them back towards the main base. 7 probes have fallen. Samwise has a nice worker lead for himself, and he should any second now. Another Immortal will be arriving onto the scene. Was a bit late starting up that second Immortal, but he does want to make sure he gets this natural down. If he gets this natural down, this has been a successful push so far. Set recognizing that he needs an Immortal, but unable to afford one at present time. Samwise's Immortal arrives. He looks like he may be playing safe and going home. I don't know. I don't know about this. A bit indecisive. I think he wants to get a natural base of his own up and running. Samwise not confident that he can kill his opponent yet. He maybe should be. Immortal finishing from Set, getting added onto the line. So the major difference here is going to be the Stalker count. You do not want to lose any units for free here if you're Set, if you have any hope of holding this. This Immortal needs to stand in the back line, be microed well, and do a lot of damage. Inching forward, beginning to tickle the gateway, are Samwise's Stalkers. Smart enough to bait out a force field before putting too many units up onto the ramp. Warp Prism being used to secure high ground vision. Immortal gets trapped behind a couple of force fields, but a quick scoop and let down by the Warp Prism will keep it alive and factor in this game. No more Immortals on the way for Samwise. He's starting to realize he's not going to be able to break this as a second Immortal pops here for Set. And now when we look at things, Set's not down by that many workers. His base is way behind. But he didn't invest in infrastructure out on the map that's about to become worthless. Samwise achieved good damage from his push, but will he be able to convert it into a victory? He's right now behind on army supply. He's got half the Immortals of his opponent, and he is just now remaking his Robo. So his Robo is going to be super late to the party to start improving this Immortal count. A third Immortal joins forces with Set here. Set might have a position where he can move across the map and get some damage done. Static defenses are being invested in by Samwise, which is probably a good investment at this point in time. What was once looking so promising for him, he's up on workers now. He should be able to hold this and continue forward, but it is going to be dicey. The Robo is almost finished, and it is going to be quite a while before any additional Immortals are added on to these forces. 2 shield batteries is a pretty nice anchor point, but will they be able to withstand the Stalkers and 3 Immortals? Starting off with some nice work from these sentries. Watch the work these Immortals start to do. They are chewing through the Stalker count of Samwise, but Samwise is using that micro, using that Warp Prism to keep units alive past their expiration date. He will now be the one pulling workers, kiting backwards. Set is starting to make up some of the damage that he withstood on his side of the map. Samwise losing some workers to the push, but coming out of this still in a very nice lead. 32 workers to 24 of his opponent with the expanded base. Second base up and running from Sets just now. We will be transitioning towards the next part of the game, though. Things have stabilized a bit. Samwise comes out of that early game with the lead. Let's see if he's able to maintain the momentum and force a map number 3 here. Another third base here firing up from Set, taking an economic gamble to squeeze his way back into this game. It's not a bad idea because, all right, there's a couple parts to this. One, he left this here, so Samwise can still see up here. He still can see. He knows that there's no base here. So Samwise, thinking that his opponent is still on 2 bases, while his opponent is taking the risk and expanding to the forward expansion. I like it in theory. Will Samwise give him enough time for this to pay off? Right now he's got a hallucinated Phoenix coming in, but will the Phoenix scout the fact that a third base has been taken? I think Samwise should be getting out on the map right now, looking to find some more damage. Is this Phoenix? This Phoenix is not going to spot the third, I don't think. Phoenix does not spot the third. Very unfortunate for Samwise. It took like the only path out of there where it wasn't going to spot. Oh, does he get it now? All right, there we go. Spots the third. Samwise does get the information he needs to get with that scout. Just in time, too. He can now throw up his own third base with the peace of mind. Worker count's been even, though. Samwise has not been on top of making workers, and Set has taken advantage and evened out this worker count. Big army coming across the map for Samwise. This could be the killing blow. It has an Archon, a couple Immortals. No Immortals here. 1 Immortal for Set's not going to be enough to withstand the push that is coming. Samwise recognizing that with the damage he did, if his opponent has gone for this quick third base, that there is a risk involved. Samwise looking to punish that risk. Moving in towards the third base. Down falls the third base from Set. The economic risk to climb back into this game has not paid off so far. Samwise continuing to bolster his forces on the front line with this Warp Prism. Oh, just move into him, man. It's over. Samwise with the overwhelming numbers on the army side of things. No static defenses here. Nothing to help this much smaller, lower tech army survive. Upgrades are pretty even. Samwise even ahead with an extra attack upgrade on his opponent. It should make these overwhelming forces way too much to deal with. He's going to make sure he's safe, add a couple Archons in before moving in, and start thinking about map number 3. Here comes the army from Samwise. It will find what it's looking for, and that is the army of Set. Armies will collide. Charge lots charge into each other. GG is called. Samwise is forced to map number 3 in this semifinal. Spawning in the top left-hand corner, he fell victim to proxy shenanigans in Game 2 to force a Game 3. We've got the blue Protoss. It's Set. And in the bottom right-hand corner, representing the CSO clan tag, it is the purple Protoss. It's Samwise. What will the plan be in this deciding match? One of these players is headed forward into the grand final where Toon Dragon and his dreaded mech approach awaits them. The loser will be headed towards the third place match after fighting it out and having a fantastic day. I have been in this scenario before. I've been the guy who lost in the semifinals. Not the best of feelings. It's a cool cat. Set moving out onto the map. Will he be a little bit more cautious in terms of a proxy? This time around he did get burned, and don't get mistaken, the proxy was a huge part of why he got burned. The proxy, while the kill was slow, the proxy did the initial damage that led to the kill. Where is this? This is not rallied anywhere fun just yet. All eyes on Samwise's probe right now, because Samwise's probe was the source of all of the shenanigans in Game 2. Sending it towards a similar location. Will it be dropping a pylon once again? Yeah, I gotta think, yeah, definitely. Waiting to see this decision from Samwise with that probe. The probe from Set has exited the main of his opponent. He has scouted, he's taken a look around, and he saw 2 pylons, right? Yeah, 2 pylons in the main is a pretty good sign that nothing immediately stressful is coming. Proxy pylon is started. Is he bringing it home, though? So this is looking more similar to a look that Samwise showed earlier in the game. Instead of proxying the tech and proxying the robo, he got quicker. He invested heavy in early stalkers, and once Warp Gate finished, he had this forward pivot point. Oh, are you serious? Oh, they spotted it! They spotted it! You saw it, dude! Look at your mini-map! Oh, man. Are they going to know? But anyways, I think they saw it. Last time around, it's probably good that he didn't invest in the tech here, considering this got spotted out. But this was really, it was a stalker, early stalker pressure was the name of the game. And the pylon was merely a reinforcement point, a rally point, a waypoint for reinforcements is all that it ended up being. So Samwise pretty happy, I assume, that he did not invest too heavily into this proxy because it got snuffed out quickly. Set having to feel pretty good right now about catching this out, but 4 stalkers from Samwise with a nice opportunity here to take a favorable engagement. 5 stalkers from Samwise. Stalkers are coming across in big number from Samwise, and Set realizes he may be in a bit of trouble. Warp Gate finishes up, desperately trying to start a couple of shield batteries here. These shield batteries will be super necessary if Samwise decides to come across, which he is. At least one of these shield batteries will be up and operational for the skirmish. I don't think Samwise is going to have the firepower necessary to brute force his way through this. Let's see if anybody takes any meaningfully bad trades. Stalkers are able to DPS through the shield battery and kill the first stalker, but the second stalker is finding a much more favorable time. The static defenses of Set have put him in a very strong position here. First, immortal popping as well. All of a sudden, Samwise is recognizing that this early pressure is not going to be his path forward. What is going to be the path? He has gone with the shield battery in his mineral line, so he was a little bit worried about an oracle. Possibly an adept. Probably an oracle on the mind with the shield battery. Worker count in favor of Samwise, army count in favor of Set, but that army count is sitting at home. He does go ahead and send a hallucinated phoenix in. The hallucinated phoenix is going to see a healthily mining natural base. Set has no reason to think he is terribly far ahead in this game, other than the fact he took a good trade. Excuse me. He took a good trade, and he did scout out the proxy, which was an investment. Not a huge investment, but it was an investment. Twilight and Forge on the way for Set. Both players content on 2 bases for the time being as we approach the 5-minute and 45-second mark. Very, very tense feeling in this game. Neither player wants to make a costly mistake that ends the game for him early. Can very much feel that in the way they are playing. Look at the army position. Both armies hanging out at home. You don't want the army to go out too far and get caught, and they also don't want the army to move out. Your opponent's army moves in. Both players very, very nervous at the current time. Charge has been started up for Samwise. Charge can be a powerful tool, but Charge started up just moments later by Set. Matching each other blow for blow. Currently, 5 worker lead for Samwise is not going to be enough to pull ahead in this game just yet. Samwise sending out this hallucinated phoenix, looking to gather some scouting information. Phoenix is going to come across the army of his opponent, and that army should be looking pretty familiar. Very similar army comp in size to your own. A little bigger on their side, but all in all, very similar. Set does have one observer kind of hanging out at home. continuing to add on Immortals. Both players investing in the Templar Archives. The Templar Archives, I think it's already done here for Samwise, so he will get into some quicker Archons if he wants to. Neither player looking to secure a third right now. A third base is going to kind of be a key thing. Both of these players are moving towards a stage of the game where their economies would be much better suited on 3 bases than 2. Worker count is dead even. Army count a smidge favored for Set, but all in all, these players are looking like they are in a very competitive place. Upgrades are even. Both players have charge. +1 attack about to finish for Set. Let's check out the Forge for Samwise. +1 attack just a little behind. These players are neck and neck. Third base, however, is ahead of the curve for Samwise. He's got his third base over 3/4 of the way done. Recognizing this, Set is going to throw a third base of his own down, but Samwise has a nice 6 worker lead. He's maybe inching towards the point where his macro is gaining an advantage in the game. But more and more, the longer I watch, I think this game's going to come down to one player making a major mistake. Less the outplay of one player. One player is not going to do something so clever and fantastic that it wins them the game. One player is going to take a fight that they really shouldn't, or move out at a really inopportune time and get caught. And it's looking right now like Samwise might be the one to move out at that inopportune time. The army from Set has now snuck behind his army and is between him and the safety of home. Set wondering where his army is, moving forwards towards the third base of Sam. Samwise continuing to march towards the other side of the map. Is he committing to a base trade here? Gathering his army up, looking for an opportunity to recall. The recall goes through. Where's the recall? Was the recall to the main to deal with this? There is a Warp Prism in the main wreaking a bit of havoc. The Warp Prism was... Oh, the recall went to the main. That's what happened. Recall went into the main, and Samwise is not going to have his army in position in time to help save his third base, but he will catch the army of Set on its way out. Charge Lots jumping on top of some very, very valuable Immortals, doing a great job taking a nice fight there. The supply heavily favoring Samwise right now, both army-wise. He lost enough workers where he's down on army, and he does still have a problem of Charge Lots being warped in his base. Samwise attempting to warp in to defend, accidentally warps in at a slow pylon, and there won't be enough here. Samwise is getting forced into a position where he's going to be all or nothing. He's going to have to kill his opponent. I think we're looking at a base trade. There is not enough here for Set to hold off the base trade, and Samwise has nothing at home to defend. Still trying to defend this with slow warp is the teeth of his production have been completely cut off at this point. Samwise, his army looking a bit disjointed, jumping on the opportunity is Set to try and clear out some units, but unable to gather any real value there. Set's army continuing to get value across the map. A few Charge Lots not being as productive as they'd like to in this battle, and the Archon count from Set is starting to look like it might be enough to overcome here. Down falls the third base. Both players have lost the third base, but now with no third to distract them, Samwise has his Charge Lots back on the right order of things. This army from Samwise will not be stopped, but meanwhile, Charge Lots from his opponent are littered throughout his base. If some of these Charge Lots go down to the natural and deny mining, we will be in full base trade scenario. But as things are, these neglected Charge Lots are continuing to not get economic value. It looks like Samwise's push is finally getting cleaned up. One last Archon and one Charge Lot battling together to try and hold it off, but 3 Archons from Set are going to arrive. They're going to put... GG is called. Samwise unable to recover from the damage he took at home. Set will be headed to the final.